So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Principles of Aloha Skill Building Program. My name is Mia Darnell. I am your Connections Program Coordinator. We are so glad that you are here with us today for a kickoff of the five module experience grounded in Aloha: ask, listen, observe, heart focus, and adapt. All right. Before we begin, let's take a moment to acknowledge WSU's land grant mission and the lands on which we live, learn, and work. We are going to play a short video of the land grant acknowledgement. You can silently read along or simply listen and reflect on each and every word. So let me go ahead and share that video for you.
Washington State University acknowledges that its locations statewide are on the homelands of Native peoples who have lived in this region from time immemorial. There are 37 federally recognized tribes that historically shared their traditional homelands and waterways in what is now Washington State. Of these, 29 are federally recognized tribes in Washington, with the remaining tribes in Idaho, Montana, and Oregon, some of which represent multiple tribes and bands. The university expresses its deepest respect for and gratitude towards these original and current caretakers of the region. As an academic community, we acknowledge our responsibility to establish and maintain relationships with these tribes and Native peoples in support of tribal sovereignty and the inclusion of their voices in teaching, research, and programming. Washington State University established the Office of Tribal Relations and Native American Programs to guide us in our relationship with tribes and service to Native American students and communities. We also pledge that these relationships will consist of mutual trust, respect, and reciprocity. As a land-grant institution, we also recognize that the Morrill Act of 1862 established land-grant institutions by providing each state with public and federal lands, which are traced back to the dispossession of indigenous lands. In 1890, Washington State received 90,081 acres of indigenous lands designated to establish Washington State University. Washington State University retains the majority of these lands to this day. We acknowledge that the dispossession of indigenous lands was often taken by coercive and violent acts and the disregard of treaties. For that, we extend our deepest apologies. We owe our deepest gratitude to the Native peoples of this region and maintain our commitment towards reconciliation.
All right. Let's go ahead. Do our quick housekeeping. So there are a quick few notes. As you can see, this session is being recorded and will be shared. Captions are available for your convenience. Cameras are optional. On or off is fine. Here at Global Campus, everyone is welcome to participate within their comfort levels. Questions and comments are welcome, so you can utilize the chat feature at any time. All right. As is our tradition, let's go ahead with introductions. Please introduce yourself with your name, your major, expected graduation term, and where you are joining us from. So feel free to unmute yourself to introduce, but there is no pressure to speak out if you are not comfortable. So you may drop your introductions in the chat instead. All right. Who wants to get started? All right. Okay. We have in the chat Elizabeth Dunayas, humanities major, expected graduation term in 2027, and she's joining us from Vancouver, Washington. All right, Angelique.
Hi, I'm Angelique Anderson. My major is media innovation. Expected graduation term officially will be summer 2026, and I am in California.
All right. Thank you, Angelique. Anyone else? All right. Oh, the chat. We have a couple in the chat. Let's read. Jessica, major is criminal justice and sociology, minor is at-risk youth. expected grad fall 2026. Ooh, coming up soon. And she's joining us from Lakewood, Washington. And then next up is Leora. So my name is Leora. I'm a double major in psychology and sociology with a minor in at-risk youth. I think 2028. Spokane, Washington area is where she's joining us from. Michelle Egan, psychology, May, so this coming spring. And then they are joining us from Orofino, Idaho. Welcome, welcome. And we do have Andrea, WSU alumni, my awesome boss. And Tenino, Washington, been with Global Campus for 10 years. Glad to be here with you all today. And also joining us is Katie. Katie is a psych major, HD minor, and 2027 with a question mark. And they're joining us from Camas, Washington. All right. Next up is Amika. Hello, my name is Amika. I am double majoring in accounting and HR management. Wow, I expect to graduate May 2027. I am currently living in Castle Rock, Washington. So I want to make sure that we did not miss anybody. All right, I think that's anybody unless someone else wants to unmute. Well, Moana, definitely.
I know I have my hand raised. Hi, I am Moana. My major is in human development. My minors are in sociology and anthropology. I am expected to graduate spring 2028, and I am currently in Lacey.
Wonderful. All right, let me go ahead. See. Okay, so Susanna, a human development major, psych minor, and how do you say that, Susanna? Gidoa, Washington, or Gradua? Okay. All right. Oh, let's give it about.
That was a mistake. I was a typo.
Okay. Do you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself if you are able to?
Yes, hi, I'm Susanna. I am a human development major with a minor in psychology. I hope to graduate fall 2028, and I'm from Longview, Washington.
All right. Well, thank you, Susanna. All right. Did I miss anybody else? Oh, woohoo, HD majors. Yeah, that's amazing. All right. If there's nobody else, I just don't want to leave someone out. Let's go ahead and do our program overview. So here's the program or how the program is structured. The same information was sent out in an email for those who registered ahead of time. So you need to attend Module 1 kickoff, and that is this session. And to those of you who are here today, recording will be available should you want to review. Please give approximately 5 to 7 business days as we need the recording properly captioned. For your awareness, starting 1 April, a federal law will be implemented regarding digital accessibility. So for those of you who are not here and watching this recording, please make sure to watch the recording in its entirety, especially Dr. G's lecture. Reflections can be challenging to complete if you don't have the context. Everyone will need to submit Module 1 and will need to use your WSU login to gain access. So everyone, to those who missed this session, after you submit your Module 1, we will manually add your attendance to this session. The forms are set up in a way that you won't be able to have access to the next form, for example, Module 2, unless your Module 1 submission is approved. So I kept it open for a while before we started this session, just so you can kind of see like a holistic view of what to expect. But right now they're already locked and set up. So Module 2 to 4 needs to be completed, but in order at your own pace. You will have from today until our next session for Module 5 to complete Modules 1 through 4. So I have set up Module 5 form to unlock after your Module 3 is submitted and approved. This way, you will get an overview of what you will need to do and will have enough time to prepare, granting you don't wait last minute to complete your other modules. All right, we're almost there. So attend the Module 5 capstone on Saturday, April 11th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Module 5 is a live presentation of your capstone project. You will each be given approximately 10 minutes to present. You will then submit the Module 5 form with the required two-page written capstone component plus optional multimedia. So if you miss to attend the Module 5, you will need to include a recorded capstone presentation. All these instructions are detailed in the Module 5 submission form. All right. Okay. Ensure everything is submitted by April 17th at 11:59 Pacific time to complete the program. This will allow Dr. G to review all of your submissions. So completion of this program earns you a digital badge, certificate, and a special token that you can wear with your graduation regalia. One other thing, please sign up if you haven't yet to Cooks Connect. And then I will be sending out invite for you to join our group at Cooks Connect. Dr. G will be joining us there to facilitate additional discussion for further engagement. So let me go ahead and drop that link for those who have not registered to Cooks Connect yet. So for any question on this and the program structure, please drop them in the chat so I can keep track. We can revisit them at the end of this session, or I will follow up to everyone with an email. This is to ensure that we have more time to dive into the principles of aloha. Alrighty. So with that foundation in place, it is my pleasure and great honor to introduce a transformational leader, educator, award-winning author of the beloved children's book, Let's Live Aloha, who was recently inducted into the WSU Society of Distinguished Alumni, Dr. Jerry Ibalarosa Tanel. So Dr. G, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Mia. Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on a Saturday. I know it takes a lot to show up on a Saturday, so it is such an honor for you to be here. So I'm Dr. Jerry Balarosa Tanel. People just call me Dr. G, and I'm looking forward to this next couple of months with each other. As you all know, aloha is like, ooh, wow, that's awesome. That's a cool word. And I kind of like looked at some of how you all understand aloha, and I love it. First of all, those who are double majoring psychology, sociology, you got my heart. That's exactly where I was as well too. So that is amazing. And for those of you that are down south, like in, Lacey and it's like Vancouver area and everything like that. At the end, I'll let you know that I'm going to be speaking in Hillsboro, Oregon. So hopefully you all can come and join me and everything. So I'll talk about that later. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll go ahead and share my screen. I can share my screen, right, Mia? And you all, this is the inaugural. This is the first time that we're doing this. And so you all are actually trailblazers in this. So I'm so honored to be here with you. Thanks to Mia and Andrea for putting all of this together. Aloha is my heart. It's everything that I live by. It's the foundation that I wake up to every morning. And so being able to share this with you all, I'm hoping that together we can change the world into a better place. So all right, let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so you are here at the Guiding Principles of Aloha. So thank you so much for being here with me this morning. um, let's see here. So this is me. You can follow me at Aloha Dr. G. I'm the CEO and founder of Co3 Consulting, which stands for Co-Creating Cohesive Communities. And like Mia was saying, that I am the author of a children's book, Let's Live Aloha. Cross my fingers, I just went ahead and submitted for the Guiding Principles of Aloha to a literary agent. So ooh, let's see if that happens. And I am working on another book on the adult version on the Guiding Principles of Aloha. So I'm also a facilitator at the Institute of Heart Math, and basically what it is, it's about how do we come back to this place of coherence while we are in the midst of chaos. And so that can be really hard to do. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. I'm also the co-chair for Community Foundations of Snohomish County. Got my undergrad at Washington State University, my master's at Antioch, and my doctorate at the California Institute of Integral Studies in Transformative Studies and Consciousness. And I served in the military. I was in the United States Navy for 6.5 years, a long time ago. That was another lifetime ago. But I was with the anti-submarine warfare unit where I was a data processing tech. So I would listen for how far away the subs are and whether they were enemy or friendly, and listening to all of the pings and everything. So I would like listen to things where I understood a different language. At first, I didn't think it was, but it's like, ooh, two pings, three pings, a pause in between the ping means something, right? So that's kind of where I come from. So I was stationed over in Whidbey Island, Long Beach, and then my final destination was over in Hawaii. So before we get into the introductions, which I want you all to do, is I wanted to set, it's called Kahua. And so part of this program as well too, you're going to be learning a little bit of Olelo. I'm just learning my language. And so it's like I try to integrate a lot of Olelo in the work that I do. So then that way I can continuously hear it. Learning a language or learning my own language, at 50 years old it's really difficult. But there's something that's fun about it as well too, is that when I hear Olelo Hawaii, I feel it in my body. I understand. It's like my spirit understands the words, but my brain and my mouth gets confused by it. And so you are going to be learning along with me. So Kahua is the foundation, the pillars. And this is how I would love for all of us to come into our time together, because our time together is sacred. You all are taking time off of your day to be here, to be with us, to learn. And to me, that is such a sacred time. And the way we come together is also really important as well too. So this is how I come into space. So I call this the triadic alignment of Aloha Akua, Aloha Aina, and Aloha Kanaka. So it's the love and the honor and the connection to the divine, the respect for the land, and the love and connection to each other. So for me, this is how I understand the alignment of how we will come together as people. We live in a world where there's just so much coming at us that sometimes it's really hard to give each other grace. And so I'm so glad that you all are here. Thank you so much. Okay, so Kahua, here it is. This is setting the foundations. All right, can you all see this? All right, all right. So the triadic alignment. So this is how I come into space every single day. So aloha akua, aloha aina, and aloha kanaka. So it's honoring the source, honoring the divine, honoring God, however you see the source is. Also aloha aina, respect and the connection to the land. Um, we wouldn't be here on this land if it wasn't, like in the land acknowledgement, if it wasn't for the people that came before us. And aloha kanaka is a love and connection to our fellow human beings. And so this is the triadic alignment that I hope that we all can come into, is that in order for us to have this kind of connection, we also need to acknowledge not just the people, but also the land as well. So this is Palahi Paki. She passed away back in 1986. This is the foundation of where the guiding principles of aloha has come from. So for Auntie Palahi Paki, she left this words for people of Hawaii on how we engage in conversation, how we are going to be able to actually live aloha. A lot of times people think that aloha is just a greeting of hello and goodbye. But my hope is that after we are done with our time together, you'll see that aloha means so much more than that. You have responsibility and accountability to the word. So she broke her aloha down in an acronym as well too for all of us Kanaka Maoli, all of us from Hawaii to understand. So akahai is kindness to be expressed with tenderness. Lokahi, unity to be expressed with harmony. Olu olu, agreeable to be expressed with pleasantness. Ha'a ha'a, humility to express with modesty. And ahunui, patience to be expressed with perseverance. So when we are coming into this space of learning, of co-creating, we come into this place where it's like it's because of lokahi, of this harmony that we want. And we do it with kindness. And I know that sometimes it can be really difficult in a world that is just full of chaos. It's like, how do we continue to live aloha? Well, Auntie Palahipaki said that, the world will come to Hawaii in its search for peace because Hawaii has that key, and that key is aloha. I believe that she understood that aloha was not just a greeting, it was how we are going to conduct ourselves in every part of our lives. And, it's like, sometimes I struggle, and I know that there's a lot of things that is going on in the world, but how do we find this place of humility? How do we find this place of being patient with one another as we're learning, as we're discovering new things about how do we think differently? Can we think differently? Are we able to challenge our perspectives and our paradigms so then that way we can grow? And so this is what we're going to be talking about when it comes to aloha. So can you all see alo? You all can see alo. All right. So the word aloha means, it is a greeting. It means hello. It means goodbye. It means love. It means compassion. It means empathy. One word in a lot of indigenous languages can mean tons of things. If we look at the etymology, at the root of the word, alo means forward facing front. It means being present with one another. So presence is an embodied and relational practice grounded in awareness and responsibility rather than performance, and shaped by a relationship to one another and to place. So when we come together, we are in the presence of another human being. Ha, let's see if I can do this. Alo, forward facing front. Ha means the breath of life. When we are speaking to one another, our words are transferred to each other through breath. So when we are sharing in knowledge, when we are sharing in ideas, we are transferring our words through breath. So when we think of alo and ha, we think of breath. Breath signifies life. Life is sacred. Therefore, maybe our words also should be sacred as well too. And it's not just the words that we are speaking to each other. It's the words that we say to ourselves. It's the words that actually become policies, become laws. It's how we engage with each other on social media, everything, right? It's like how do we connect with each other in a space where our breath, our words is so sacred that it brings healing instead of harm. So whenever we are in a space where we could find ourselves, maybe our nervous system is being dysregulated. There's something that has activated our somatic response where it's like, oh, I'm hearing something. I may not like what I'm hearing. So instead of saying things, is that we pause in this moment before we say anything. Sometimes when we get activated, we spit words out so quickly that it's hard for us we can't take it back. Once the words are out, we can't take it back. The only thing we can do is apologize and hope that the person that received our words are in a space where they can find forgiveness. And so I want all of us to kind of like just look through this, and this is how you can return to the presence, right? So just inhale gently. In fact, can we go through a breathing exercise really quickly? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing so then that way I can see all of you. Now that I know that how to change my slides. Okay. So I want all of us to kind of like just you know, get comfortable in your seats and everything like that. Have your feet planted ground, just on the ground. Sit up straight, stretch your shoulders out, your neck out and everything. Just kind of like relax a little bit, right? It's like it's still early in the morning, so we still need to get our blood flowing. So I want you to inhale gently through your nose, like for 5 to 6 seconds. And then I want you to exhale softly through your nose for 5 to 6 seconds. And then I want you to maintain this rhythm without force. And let's just continue this for a few minutes. And let's bring our heart and our breath and our nervous system into coherence before we start our day together. I believe this is just so important because in our lives, we wake up in the morning and the first thing we do is that we're rushing, 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 rushing. And throughout our entire day, without the pause, without sitting down and just actually trying to regulate ourselves, we find ourselves in this place where our cortisol is being dumped into our system all day long. And when that kind of thing happens, it affects our whole entire bodies. It affects our lungs, it affects our kidneys, it affects our heart. And then we find ourselves at the end of our time like, oh my gosh, I am so tired. Oh, why is it that our society is so sick? Why is it that there's high blood pressure and all of these different things that's happening in our world? It's because we are in a constant place of always being stressed. So in this session, I'm hoping that we can just kind of like relax our shoulders and just calm ourselves, calm our nervous system. You know who's really good at this? And I'm just going to call it out, Andrea. Whenever I talk to Andrea, she kind of like helps me settle sometimes. Like she remembers like, Dr. G, let's just breathe a little bit. So it helps. It really helps. I need to be reminded as well too. So let's just do this really quickly. So let's inhale through our nose gently for 5 to 6 seconds. And then exhale. And then let's inhale again. And then exhale. At the next inhale, kind of like pause around your heart and bring in a good intention on what do you want to have for this time together, okay? So let's inhale and then exhale. So this is a way that we can find ourselves coming back into the presence with each other, with ourselves, most importantly. So let's see if I can do this, Moana. I don't know why it doesn't work right away. There we go. All right, so now we're going to go into what I'm calling the Aloha Circle. And for us to get to know each other, we get to know each other through stories. We tell ourselves stories every single day. And stories gives us the opportunity to actually be human with each other. We're not just giving each other a whole bunch of data, right? It's like we are engaging in conversations with one another. And that is how we transfer knowledge to each other. Is through stories. And so this is one of my kumus, my teachers, who actually has passed away, and she taught me about He Alo Ahe Alo, and that means face to face. And she told me that that's the only way that you get to know each other is by being face to face with one another. It's not about the things that you read. It's not about what other people tell you. It is about being face to face in the presence of another sacred human being. So I want to be able to kind of like just go around and do a introduction. And it's a deeper introduction than what we do. It's not talking about where you're coming in from or your degrees or your titles or anything like that. It's about who are you? Who are you besides all of this? And so your full name, you're the child of, you're a parent to, places you were born. Tell me about the oceans, the mountains, the streams, the rivers, your oceans, right? Places that you live now, elaborate about it. And, who are your ancestors? What ancestors are you calling in? And then also share your intention for the day. And so I want to go ahead and I'm going to start, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go around the room or around our screen. So these are my ancestors. So you will see my parents, Roy Balarosa and Gloria Philomer. And then in the middle is my paternal grandparents, Sergio Balarosa and Mary de Coscos. And then Perfecta Philomer and Natividad Moreno. And these are my maternal grandparents. And these are the lands of my ancestors. So on my maternal side, my grandmother, Natividad Moreno, is from the island of Kauai, Hawaii. And then my grandfather is from Cebu, Philippines. On the paternal side, Mary de Coscos is from Maui, Hawaii. And then my grandfather, Sergio Balarosa, is from Bohol, Philippines. It's so funny because as I was putting together this presentation, my husband came in and he was like, whoa, your ancestors are from some pretty cool places. He's like, look at all of that. I'm like, I know. And he goes, and all ocean people. I'm like, exactly, exactly. This is where I come from. These are the lands of my ancestors. These are the places that nurture me. This is the place that raised me, that brought me up, right? It's like, so I'm from the island of Oahu. The mountain ranges that I'm familiar with is the Waianae and the Ko'olau range. The rivers where I used to play and I used to like pick shells and everything like that is Palolo and Anahulu. And then my ocean, the great ocean of Moana Nui is the Pacific Ocean. I live just a little bit east of Seattle in the Bothell area. And so I'm actually on the traditional homelands of the Snohomish and the Tulalip people. And, it's like here on the Coast Salish homelands. So the Cascade Range, it's like I can see when I'm going a little bit north, I see Mount Coshen, which is Mount Baker. And then when I'm coming back south from, being up in Bellingham, I see Mount Tahoma, which is also Mount Rainier. So the rivers, the Snoqualmie, the Skagit, and then again, the Pacific Island, the Pacific Ocean, Moana Nui. This is my ohana. This is my family. This is the reason why I do the work I do, is because of all of these individuals. So here to the right of me is my oldest grandson, Lyric. He's 16. And then you'll see my two other grandchildren. That's Mana and Lonnie, and my two sons, Eddie and Ryan. This is my husband, Jeremy, and this is our dog, Zoe. And so this is what brings me joy. This is what makes me smile. This is what makes me continue to do the work that I do. And so I'm going to stop sharing, and I want to go around the room. You can either drop it in the chat or you can come off of mute, however you want to do it. But I would love to hear about who you all are. We're all Cougs, that brings us together. But who are you? And so who would like to start? And Mia, you're monitoring the chat, right? If there's anybody in the chats, okay.
Dr. J, is it possible to show the screen again with all the like
Yes.
the prompts that yeah.
And if we prefer to see everyone's faces, we can always just take that and put it in the chat too if we want to.
Oh, yeah. All right. Ooh. Let me see if I can screenshot and then drop in the chat. Okay, there you go. I'll drop it in the chat and then you can go ahead, Dr. G, and
Okay, you got it,
um,
Mia?
yep, it's in the chat now if you need to see what those prompts are to help you share. Guess you have to download. All right, full name.
Okay. All right. Who would like to start?
If nobody else, I can go ahead and also probably try and see if I can do this. So my full name is Josie Mia Darnell. I am the child of, guess what? Romeo and Juliet. My dad's name is Romeo. My mom's name is Juliet. Unfortunately, their love story ended in tragedy, just like Romeo and Juliet. They're not together anymore, but they're still both living with, happily with their respective partners. Um, Parent two, I have three boys. Johannes, who is in Pullman, Washington. So this is his senior year. So I'm excited. He's graduating. And then Jericho, uh, not sure about how I feel about him because he's going to UW right now. He's a freshman at UW. And then, of course, our littlest one, his name is Josiah. We call him our retirement baby. We had him when my husband retired from the military, and he's 10 right now, and he will be 11 in September. So I was born in the Philippines, in a province of Leyte, and the mountains that I remember they're beautiful when my husband and I or the family visited Leyte, especially my hometown. We have what we call Mount Pangasugan. It's like it's not as elaborate as the Cordillera Mountains in the Philippines, but it is close to comparable. And we have Pangasugan Falls. When back in high school, we used to go and just cut class and go there and swim. So that is my memory. And we now live in Gig Harbor, Washington. So I must say we live on the famed Tacoma Narrows Bridge, where I think that's the best landmark that I would say because there is the giant octopus, the Kraken. It is very famous. So I'm gonna share that. That yes, that is our body of water. That's really close to us. We're probably about 7 minutes from the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. What ancestors are you calling forth? So um, this is interesting because when we did my DNA testing or our DNA testing or the genetic, like the 23andMe or Ancestry DNA, I am about 48% Polynesian. Um, I have like the Asia, in Asia, the Indian, about 30% Indians. And then the rest are Filipino. Like I I guess the Filipino genetics is so like intermixed in a sense within the Asian region. So yeah, that is my heritage in on my mother's side. It is the father figure that kind of makes a lot of the decision. But interestingly, they're the ones who does the cooking, who does the chores, who does the grocery shopping. Now, on my father's side, the dominant figure is the mother, my grandma, my late grandma. All of my grandparents had since passed on. But yes, however, though, the decision making, the or not the decision making, yeah, it's my grandmother, but all the household chores, all the cooking and everything else. My grandma does it, so it's an interesting mix with my ancestors, with with all that dynamic. And I remember, yeah, my grandmother was like, on my father's side, my paternal grandmother, that she would always like insist on like teaching us, you know, all the things we need to learn in the household. While on my mother's side, it wasn't so. What we're seeing is it's the husbands, or especially my grandfather, doing all these things. So yeah, it's been an interesting like dynamic growing up. And then for my intentions for the day, I just want to be able to. I went to a youth camp, and one of the things that stood out to me is rest, because I'm always on the go, and so I want to be intentional that today we just rest.
Thank you, Mia. All right. Who wants to go next?
We have Elizabeth in the chat. If you're okay, Elizabeth, I will read it out loud for everybody, if that's okay with you. Absolutely. Okay, so Elizabeth Denias, child of Terry and Mary, parent to Luna Blossom. Oh, beautiful name. Wife of Thad, related to the Quinault tribe. I hope I said it correctly. I can't. Oh, born and raised in Vancouver, Washington. I can't escape low Mount St. Helens. My grandparents' cabin in under the ash. Ooh.
Wow.
Ancestors, I'm calling forth my dad, my grandparents. My intentions for the day is absorb everything from this course and complete the course assignments. All right. Moana is raising her hands. Go ahead, Moana.
Hello, I am Moana. I always get the Disney movies just like flashes in my eyes every time I introduce myself. Um, I am Moana Acosta. My maiden name is Grady. I am a child of Marlene and Brian Sr., and I am a parent to Levi, who is 14, and Gianni, who is 10. Um, Place where you were born. So my dad was in the military. So I was actually born on Fort Wainwright in Alaska. Yes. So I don't have connection to Hawaiian culture, but my name, so I always say that I was made in Hawaii and born in Alaska. So that's that's pretty much my background. My name is really just an appreciation for the culture. My mom really, really enjoyed her time stationed in Hawaii. So place where I was born in Fort Wainwright. I only lived there for about 6 months or so, so I'm not that familiar with the area, with the land. However, I am very familiar with Maryland. That is where I call home. I grew up maybe 15 or so minutes outside Baltimore. And the Chesapeake Bay, water, seafood, oh my gosh, my heart. Patapsco River. I've had unique experiences where I've got to stand at the water where my ancestors came in from. My grandmom, she was born in Virginia. So we have a lot of connections to the land in that Maryland, DC, Virginia area, and some up in New Jersey. She actually, or my great grandmother actually worked in the tobacco fields with alongside Native Americans. So that was a very interesting fact about my family history when my sister and I were going through our genealogy. Uh, Place that I live now, I currently live in Lacey near the Nisqually River. I chaperone a few of my children's field trips to the Nisqually River and with the Nisqually tribe. So that's awesome that I get to share in that culture while we are here in Washington State. What ancestor are you calling for? Probably would be my dad. My dad, he passed away in 2012. And my grandmother, they actually passed away 3 weeks between each other. So my grandmother passed away, and then my dad passed away. So I would say those two probably be the ancestors that I call forth the most. Definitely calling my dad for strength a lot of the time. Big military guy, very straightforward, but hilarious. He believed in playing as much as he worked hard. So I absolutely call him forward a lot. Call my grandmother forward a lot, especially when I'm dealing with my kids and cooking in my kitchen and everything. I always say I season my food till the ancestors say to stop. Uh, yeah, so my kitchen is probably where I feel my ancestors most. And my intentions for the day is hair day. My 10-year-old, he has a hair appointment to get his hair braided. So hair day is an all-day event in our culture. His hair is longer than mine. So that is my intentions, and I'm very happy to be here with you guys today.
Thank you, Moana. All right. Who wants to go next?
Jessica. Oh, Angelique. All right, go ahead first, Angelique, because we do have two that shared in the chat. So you can go ahead, Angelique.
All right. My name is Angelique Dolores Anderson. My maiden name was Gallegos. I would like to say I am a child of God, first and foremost, because we've had I've had a difficult life. And so it's not easy to answer some of these. Um, sorry. Uh, Parent two. So I'll just talk about my family a little bit, but um, I'm a blended family. Um, my biological mom died when I was 7, so personally, I don't know too much about her. Um, I do know that side of the family. They originated from Spain, immigrated here. Um, they were actually one of the first families to come to California um, from Spain back in the day. So that was interesting to find out. Um, my dad's side is from Mexico. Uh, there's a lot of indigenous on that side. Um, I'm a parent too. Again, sometimes many. I have a 26-year-old, Kevin, and 11, he just turned 11, Cash. And then I'm also a foster parent, so my house can look filled and my house can look empty. Um, let's see, place I was born. I really didn't move far. I was born in Oceanside, California, and I am still in California in a city nearby. Um, and in our area, I mean, I come from a line of farm workers and construction workers. A lot of our family, when I was younger, and even before I was around, farming was a big thing in our area. So our family was, brought up to either farm or work in packing companies to pack the fruit. So there's a lot of that. Um, we're always at the ocean a lot if we can. But there are also, a lot of mountains that we like to go to in the winter, which is Palomar Mountain that's close by. We like to go there because it's snowy in the winter for the most part. There's sometimes where it's not, it's really warm. Um, but yeah, well, let's see, ancestors that I'm calling forth. I would say a lot of the ones that I talk to most when I'm lonely is my grandmother that passed away in February of 2024. She was the one that raised me for the first 4 years. So there's a strong connection there. Um, but yeah, intentions for the day is absorb everything that I can with this.
Angelique, thank you so much. And please don't apologize for your tears. Those are sacred. And those are that's coming from your heart. And this is what aloha is all about, right? It is coming from a place from your heart. So don't apologize for your tears. Thank you so much. It's an honor for actually sharing it with us. So thank you. Mia, do we have others?
We do have Jessica in the chat. So if you're okay, give me a thumbs up if you want me to read yours out loud. All right, so Jessica Rick, my parents are Mindy and stepdad Tim. My children are Tian, Yasmin, Lavender, Sage, and Kale. My grandchildren are Letty, Genesis, Mika or Micah, and Malachi, with another grandson due in June. Yay! These are the people I live for and do everything I do for. Born in Redmond, live in Lakewood, Mount Rainier, the Green River, the White River, and the Carbon River, the Puget Sound. I am calling on my grandparents from my mom. They were amazing people that were farmers in the rural town of Crooked Creek, Alberta. My intentions for the day are connecting with everyone and learning from this course. Thank you, Jessica. And Leora, are we good to go to share or read? All right. So my name is Leora Sanders. I'm a child of Laura and Jim. I'm a parent to my two amazing kiddos, Gabriel 8 and Lila 6, and a wife to my husband, Stephen. I was born in Spokane and have lived in the area my entire life. Grew up primarily raised by my late grandmother, who was raised in Brooklyn, close to our tribe. Oh, I don't want to say it wrong.
Iroquois.
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 Yeah.
Iroquois. All right, thank you. She is he who I seek every day for guidance and who I call on today during this gathering. We would go down to Spokane River to play and be in tune with nature. My intentions today are to take these lessons and find a greater sense of peace and pass them to my family. Thank you, Leora. Let's see. All right. Yeah, that's what all we have in the chat. And if there is anybody else who wants to share. Unless you're still typing.
Who
Because I
hasn't
type slow.
who hasn't shared yet? Susanna, Katie,
And
and
Michelle.
okay.
I can go next.
Thanks,
Uh,
Susanna.
My full name is Susana Belen Naranjo Pelayo. Um, I am the child of Alejandro Naranjo and Angelica Pelayo. Um, really early, my dad was um deported, so I was raised by Juan Gabriel Santos. Um, I am not a parent to anybody. Maybe someday I will be, and it'll be so glorious, and all the things my sister talks about will make sense to me. Um, I was born, I guess I think about the river that I'm near, well, Willow Grove. Um, and I think about Lake Sacagawea, which is the lake that everyone in my town goes to walk to, and it's kind of what is known as what's pretty about my town. I still live there. I've moved around. I've lived in Portland. I've lived on Lopez Island. And I came back to Longview because my family's here. And I'm calling forth my tia Lucia, who passed away from breast cancer recently, like in the last year. Um, I try to think of her when I think of like family that I want to emulate and people who have made me feel warm and loved. And my intentions for the day are to hopefully make a really meaningful presentation for my club on Monday. I'm trying something new and I'm really hoping people like it. And I really hope that I can talk about Black History Month. My stepdad who raised me is Black. I'm Mexican, so I never want to overstep and talk about things that are not for me to talk about, but I also like to open up the space. So yeah, that's everything.
Thank you, Susanna. Okay, who do we have left for introduction? We have Andrea and Katie, is that correct?
I was honestly letting the students all go first since this is for them. So, but I can go. I don't remember the prompt or have it. My puppy is being very distracting, and I apologize because I appreciate you all sharing your stories, and they're very fantastic. And I'm trying to give you my full attention, but this is the first day with this one at the house. So, my apologies. So I am. Let's see. I am of the sun. Dr. G knows that about me as well. I love the sun. It energizes me. I actually have my sunlight right now. It's a lamp that does the sun that's shining on me. Um, I, goodness, I have parents that my dad and I have a stepmom, Mary, and they all live in Kansas. My mom is in Kansas. Um, I love, let's see, what are my locations that I appreciate? I just appreciate being outside in the sun. If the sun is up, I'm up. If the sun is down, I'm asleep. That's why these days of early darkness are so hard for me because I just want to, I'm like, I should go up to bed. There's no reason for me to be up. So that's why this light really, really helps me stay up a little bit longer. Goodness gracious, I'm so sorry. Like I said, I am very distracted. Oh, I am a mother of many, or a mother figure of many, and a grandma. Actually, my name is Lola, which is from the Philippines. So I know Mia knows that. So I'm Lola, and they live in Missouri, so I don't get to see them much. Three grandsons. Um, Goodness. Oh, who I call upon. I have had many grandparents that have passed away, great and like great grandparents. Not saying that they're not great, they're all great. And grandparents. My grandmother who passed away early from Alzheimer's, she is one that I always call upon. My grandfather, my mother's father, he also passed away early in my life. He was a truck driver, a semi truck driver and trainer, big red. He's a big guy with red hair, smoked a pipe. And so whenever I'm on the highway or the roads, I always call upon Big Red, my grandpa. Please keep me safe. Please keep the family safe. So yeah, I just always call upon any of my relatives and I just always feel them with me and I know that they're looking down and always have my best interest in heart. So again, I don't want to take up a lot of time. That's me. And again, thank you so much for all the students and everyone here sharing. I really appreciate it.
All right, we have in a short introduction from Michelle in the chat. You're good if I read it, Michelle? Thumbs up. If you're okay for me to read out loud, okay. Okay, my name is Michelle Egan. Parents are Brian and Heidi. I have a son, Nicholas. He's 2, born and raised in Idaho, and have lived all over the state. Thank you. So, Amika, her computer died, so she might join in again a little bit or soon. So
Okay.
I disabled the waiting room. But yeah, that leaves us with Katie.
Katie, would you like to do an introduction, or you could just type it in the chat? There you go.
All right.
Okay.
You good for us to read it, Katie? All right. My name is Katie, married to Adam, mom to Grayson, 15, Camden, 13, Isabella, 11. Born and raised in Washington, I was adopted at birth, and family heritage is a sore subject currently. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Katie. So let's go back into the presentation here. Can you all see that? Mia, can you see the screen? Okay, perfect. So this is the guiding principles of aloha. When I started the guiding principles of aloha, it was during my dissertation. And the way that I work is I can't teach anything or share any wisdom if I haven't gone through the process myself. And so the guiding principles of aloha came about not just through what Auntie Palahipaki left. In fact, it was what was happening in my own home. So as you all noticed, my husband is a man of European descent. And when this came out, for the first time in our lives, the subject of race and racism actually entered our home. And it was a really difficult time as I was working towards decolonizing my way of thinking, working towards understanding exactly what does aloha mean, because I knew in my body that aloha meant that it was more than just a greeting. And so during that time, I would say things to my husband that wasn't very kind. I would call him the white guy. I would call him the colonizer. And it added in a lot of friction between us. I would say things about people that looked like him that wasn't very nice. And at that time, my grandson was 8 years old. He's the one that's 16 now. And Moana, that's when Moana first came out. And I was talking to him, my grandson, about all of his ancestors, on who his ancestors were, that his ancestors navigated the oceans, that they were so in touch with everything around them that the stars told them which way to go. They knew how to be in relationship with not just everything around them, but also the people that were in their canoe. And they were mighty warriors, and there were all of these great things. So he said to me, Jima, if Moana is your people and you're my Jima, does that mean that Moana is my people? And I was like, yes, grandson, Moana is your people. My husband, a man of European descent, is on HBO flipping through Vikings, right? He comes across Vikings. He starts talking about being a Viking and how his ancestors were. So my grandson is like, wait, Papa, if Vikings are your people and I'm your grandson, does that make Vikings my people too? Of course, I'm like, no, it doesn't. But, of course, that's not true. So one day he comes over because we were watching, we were babysitting him at least, twice a week. And one day he comes by and I go to hug him. And I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I hugged my grandson and his body stiffened like he was almost afraid. And I was like, what's going on, grandson? What's happening? And he just didn't want to talk to me. And so I asked him, I said, grandson, talk to me. What's going on here? He goes, well, Jima, you said that Moana is your people. That makes Moana my people. And Vikings is Papa's people, which makes them my people. He goes, but Jima, I hear you say things about people that looks like Papa. So Jima, which part of me do you not love? Which part of me do you not love? And you all, that broke me. That broke me into a trillion pieces. And at that point, I needed to think to myself, is this what aloha is? Is this the kind of world that I want my grandson to be raised in, to grow up in, where he has to feel like he has to dissect himself from who he really is as an individual of a mixed race. And so I was like, I cannot do this. This isn't the way aloha is. And so the guiding principles was born because I needed to learn, how can I ask more questions? How can I listen with the intention to truly understand what is being said? When I'm asking questions and I'm listening, how can I observe what is happening in my body? And am I coming from this place from being in my heart, where love, compassion, empathy, and aloha resides? And how can I adapt to this change? How can I adapt so then that way I can start to create a world where my grandson will feel that he can show up as his full self? And so I found that with asking questions, it helps us to slow down and to get really curious rather than jump to conclusions. And not just asking questions of other people's, but asking questions of myself as well too. And getting curious about, where did this bias come from? Where did this prejudice come from? Who am I to actually think that my grandson is better if he didn't know this part of himself? Right? And so I needed to, this was something about self-awareness as well too. So then that way I could reduce the bias and the assumptions that was inside of myself. And as we go through these modules, we're going to go deeper into it. So this is just an overall of what the guiding principles of aloha is. So that's where the ask part came in. And then it was, okay, so let's see. Can I listen? Can I listen and stay present in the conversation, especially when my body is reacting? So as I started to ask questions of of my husband, it's like, I felt like, okay, here he is, this 6'2", blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 250-pound man that can walk into the room and can actually be given the power without even asking for it. I needed to listen to how did he navigate this world? I also needed to listen to the fact that as I was calling him the colonizer, because that's what I would call him, oh, you colonizer, you white guy, all of these things. And then going through, like how everybody was talking about going through 23andMe, understanding that the Philippines, where my grandparents came from, was colonized by the Spaniards for over 300 years. And within myself, I have Hawaiian, Chinese, Filipino, Spanish, Portuguese, two of the largest colonizers on this planet, that I had to listen to the fact that, wait a minute, here I am calling my husband a colonizer, but then within me, I have the colonizer's blood as well too. So being the colonizer and the colonized, and thinking that, okay, because I show up like this, I can hide behind of that. So I needed to really listen to his story, listen to myself, listen to the attention, with the intention to learn and notice the inner dialogue, right? And so that's when I realized that I can uncover bias and move toward empathy and understanding. The observe. When we ask questions and we listen, sometimes we don't like what we hear. Sometimes we don't like what we hear. And so observing what is happening to your body, observing the energy that is being exchanged between you and the other individual, observing what internal narratives are you having, right? Inside of your mind. So to observe is to not notice what's happening inside and around you without reacting. It's by quieting the inner voice and grounding through breath. So then that way you can build awareness and self-regulation. Because when we ask questions and when we listen, sometimes when we don't like what we hear, then all of that cortisol starts dumping into our bloodstream, cognitive dissonance sets in, and all of a sudden it's like we're trying to protect what we don't want to hear. So by observing that, we can actually come back to our breath. We can actually self-regulate, get our nervous system into regulation. So then that way we can move forward and have conversations. And coming from this place of heart, right? It's like heart always brings us back to being human. And so, in a lot of indigenous wisdoms, and I just want to let you know that we are all indigenous to some place. We need to be able to return back to that indigeneity, back to that place where, where our ancestors kind of like taught us on how to be human with each other. So this is where our mind and our body and our heart connects with each other, is in this place of heart. So presence and breath helps us to get back to this place. Like I was saying, it's like, it's like I needed to be able to ask questions, listen, observe what was happening, and coming from this place of heart. How is it that I want to, how can I let my grandchildren know that they are fully loved? They're fully loved and they're fully seen, and wanting to be able to create a world where they're able to exist fully as themselves. And through all of that, I needed to also learn about how to adapt. How do we adapt to this place? How do we get to this place where, it's like, okay, so transformation begins from within. A lot of times when we're talking about systems and wanting to change the systems, it's always outside of ourselves. It's always like, oh, the system is broken and the system is this and the system is that. Well, as we know, the system is designed to do exactly what it was built to do. In order for us, and this is just my theory, this is my philosophy of it, is that in order for us to change any system, including ourselves, we need to change the hearts and minds of the individuals that are within the system. So that means that in order for us to change anything, it begins with me first. It begins on how are we seeing things? How are we adapting the way of our thoughts, of our ideas, our perspectives? Are we able to push up against the place of discomfort to where transformation actually begins? And it all starts with just being present and then breathe as change unfolds. And so that's the guiding principles of aloha. And like I was saying, it's like each module, we're going to go deeper into it. So what I want to do is I want us to quickly take some time, and this is called, it's called a ho'omana'o. And ho'omana'o is about reflection and integration. So I want you all to take a moment to think about which of these principles, the ALOHA, feels like something that can be challenging to you to embody, and which feels the most natural to you and why. So which one of the principles, and I'll go ahead and I'll go back into right here. So which one of these principles would be difficult for you to embody, and which one feels natural for you and why? So I'll give you a few minutes to kind of like think about that. You can write it down or you can come off of mute, but let's take about 2 or 3 minutes to just kind of think about that. And I'm going to put my camera off for just a second because my puppy is at the door and she wants to go out. So let me go ahead and let her out real quick. Ooh, thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing. Ooh, I kind of like felt those words, especially when you talk about when the individual is saying things I morally do not agree with or understand. And I do tend to think about what I'm going to say in reply. I try to check myself on this, but it is hard because I want to keep the dialogue going if it's something I am liking. Yeah, I hear you. Anyone else would like to share or would like to either drop it in the chat or come off of mute and share with us?
Well, I'll just say while everyone's thinking. So I have learned I have met Dr. G January 2025. And so that is when I first learned of her principles, Aloha. And then I also got to take a class with her, teaching again further her principles of Aloha. So every time I come to this question, I come to something different every time, which I'm really excited for because in that I hope to me means growth. Like, okay, I've kind of gone from each one. So when I first started, it was ask. I felt like, oh, yes, exactly, Elizabeth, what you were saying. Like, I love to ask, I learn more things. And then I think then the next time when I was in Dr. G's class, it was the breathing, the heart, because I found that very easy for me going through my meditations. Was breathing. And I think now it's listening for that not to judge. It's still because I like, especially when someone comes to me with an issue, I immediately like, yeah, I've already heard this issue before. I've already tried these solutions. And so I'm trying to be like, nope, they might have a totally different solution. Everybody has a different perspective. And so I just am always like that. But that is now becoming easier. So I'm excited for this. So I just have to share it's very fun to see the growth every time I come back to this question.
Thank you, Andrea. And we're not robots. So it could change all the time, right? And it depends on what is going on in our lives. It's like, ooh, what am I struggling with and why and what's easy? And so yeah, that's the embodiment. So thank you, Andrea, for sharing. Anyone else would like to share with us?
Um, I will say that I felt like a lot of these I it's easy for me. Like the one that I have that is like easy, but yet it's not easy is ask. Because it's easy for me because I don't mind asking the hard questions and asking questions, but it is also hard for me to because right away I want to think like I don't want to like uh make somebody feel what is it, not weird, but like I don't want them to feel bad for the question that I'm asking, and because sometimes it's not intentionally to make somebody feel bad, but there might be something that's attached to it, like a feeling that's attached
Mhm.
to a certain question, so that's kind of um that's my it's easy because like I said, I don't mind asking questions, but then the second part of my thinking is like I don't want there to be like trauma attached that shuts them down or that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I feel you, Angelique. Thank you so much. Sometimes when I'm looking at all of this, right, and especially when I'm teaching it, I've also got to check myself, right? Am I asking the right question? Am I listening? And I can find myself in this place where I ask the question so that way I can respond, right? That's pretty much it. And so it's like I'm not really listening. I'm just asking you the question because I want to say something. And that can be really difficult. Moana, oh, did you want me to read it or you want to like share with what you put in the chat?
Oh, I can share. I more so typed it because I was already typing while everybody was talking. It's easy for me to observe, very aware of my body, somatic responses. That's very helpful for me to know whether I'm in an environment that's conducive, for my learning and my success, or if maybe I need to reevaluate the space that I'm within. So observe is easy for me. I am still learning the listening part. I do well most of the time, but there's still that whole listening to respond that I'm working on, trying to get over to make sure that I am responding as empathetic as I can.
Absolutely. Thank you, Moana. And we're all a work in progress. It's like every single day, it's like, okay, can I do this? Am I the better? Am I showing up as my best self today? And there's days where I know that I'm not, and it's like, okay, this is what it's like to be human. And then although there's that other space as well too, is that if you're in this point in this, you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I am just not my best self. And somebody meets you for the first time, that's their perspective of you in that moment. So then it's like, if we're able to give the grace and the understanding, and it's like, okay, wait a minute, how is this person showing up in this moment? How was I showing up in this moment? Is there a different way for us to show up instead of it's like, oh, I met her and you know what, she is like this. I've done that before. I've done that before where I would prejudge someone before even knowing them. And it's like, oh my goodness. It's like, okay, that's kind of like narcissistic, where I think that somebody's supposed to show up as their best self because of me. It's like, come on. We all know what that's like. So I get that. So thank you so much, Moana, for sharing. All right. Anything else? Do we have anything in the chat, Mia? Okay.
Jessica, if you're okay with it, I'm gonna read yours out loud. All right, so adapt to change is my most difficult just because I don't like change, but at the same time, I can adapt easily if needed. Ask and listen are the easiest. I always ask questions and listen to really hear what someone is saying. I want to know who a person is for who they really are, and you can't learn that unless you ask and listen. That was, oh, that's beautiful. All right,
Absolutely.
Leora. So I'm going to go ahead and read it loud. All right. Okay. So Leora said, I need to listen with a focused intent to truly understand and hear that person. I'm usually good at asking questions to try and clarify and follow up, but really putting aside my own thoughts and feelings is not always the easiest. I often have to remind myself to take a breath and listen to what is being vulnerably communicated and take it in rather than come up with my list of questions and rebuttals. I'm good now at observing my own emotional response and can pick up on how someone else might be feeling. I know when I might need to rephrase or even take a break myself if it's something triggering. Thank you. That's beautiful reading all of you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jessica and Leora, for sharing that. Yeah. Oh gosh, Jessica, it kind of like, when you talk about adapt to change is my most difficult, just because I don't like change. Ooh, sister, I don't like change either. It is so it is so hard. And so I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be turning 60 in June. And so I'm kind of like set in my ways already, right? Things have been locked in for a while. But realizing that, oh goodness, adapting can definitely be a difficult one for me. And I'm still learning as well too. And then also being open to the listening part of it, where it's like, if someone is telling me about, how I am not adapting, is being able to take take those words in as a gift, which can be kind of hard sometimes. But it's like, if this person is telling me that, Dr. G, I there's no adaptation from your part, then I've got to like ask a little bit more questions, and I've got to also listen instead of trying to defend that, which can be kind of hard. And so, yeah, Leora, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful narrative. That was amazing. And yes, always coming back to that place of taking a breath and listening. And I love, Leora, that you said of what is being vulnerably communicated, and that takes courage for other people to actually come to you and to be vulnerable. And so it's like, how do we hold this space with so much aloha, so much love and compassion that this person can feel safe enough to be vulnerable? So thank you so much for sharing. All right, do we have anyone else?
This is Amika. I have a little bit to add. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
And just looking at these different principles, it definitely a nice moment for me to reflect on these things because I'm a person of very few words. So, I pride myself on being a listener. I ask questions. I really do desire to understand others. Um, but with that said, I think that one thing that you touched on in our conversation is that I noticed that while my intentions are really good and I want to be that good listener, sometimes the struggle is when the feedback tells you or tells me that I've been misunderstood.
Mhm.
And that hurts my heart.
Mm,
So it's like, still, I keep the conversation going, keep those open ears, but I'm not sure how to put it into words, but just realizing that when you get the feedback and it's not what you're expecting or people aren't seeing you in the way that you hope that you're presenting yourself, then it creates a response. And for me, my struggle is um, I internalize a lot of things.
mhm,
So then that stress of situations and the struggles of relationships can really take a toll on me because, I'm not quick to clap back, but I will internalize that and then it kind of eats me up a little bit.
mhm. Oh, that's some truth right there, Mika. That's definitely, yeah, some truth. I internalize things as well too. And it's like in that moment of when I'm internalizing it, I'm also filling in the gaps as well too. So I create my own narrative in my head. And I found myself getting getting a lot more angrier to the point where it was difficult for me to even have a conversation with the individual because that's kind of like what was in my head. But also that you made that point of um, knowing that you're not understood, and then how do you go back into it? How do you continue to have those conversations? And so these are all good points because this is what we're going to go deeper into as we get into the modules and everything. So thank you so much. um, we have Kara that just joined us. Hi. Hi, welcome to our circle. Would you like to introduce yourself real quick, kind of like where you coming in from? Yeah, just a little about yourself.
Sorry about that. I meant to be here earlier. I'm Kara. I am a senior at WSU Global. Um, right now I'm in Idaho, and I was super excited to be here this morning, and then I did not get up on time.
Thank you so much. So it's like, okay, so you didn't get up on time, but you woke up and you came in.
I
That's
did.
what
I did.
counts.
I haven't even.
That's what counts. So yes, thank you so much. I'm honored. I'm honored for you to be here. So yes, welcome, welcome from Idaho. What's the weather like over where you are?
Oh, it's gorgeous, cold, but
Oh,
beautiful outside.
okay. Yeah, I'm over in Bothell and I can hear the rain right now. It was so pretty yesterday and now it's raining.
I don't miss that. 49 years of rain on the west side there. So I'm from Longview.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, that is awesome. That is awesome. And yeah, you'll be able to see the recording so you can get caught up with everything. And yeah, and then also with the Crew Connect, if you're on there and everything like that, I'll be on there so we could like also engage in conversation there as well too. So
Oh, perfect.
if you have any questions, that would be awesome.
Excellent. Thank you so much for
Oh,
letting me jump in here.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm like thinking like, oh, yay, Kara jumped out of bed and came right in. It's like,
I did.
great. I hope you got a first cup of coffee or something.
It's on its way.
Okay, good. Good. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. That's awesome. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anyone else that would like to share?
We do have an additional from a comment from Elizabeth. She said, I'd say another thing about listening that is difficult is wanting to solve everything, wanting to provide perfect answer that will be the perfect solution, wanting to express that I am listening by providing suggestions.
Oh, yes, yes, Elizabeth. That's so easy to do, right? But it's like talk, uh, um, perfection, being perfect. I think that's kind of like overrated. And my idea is like, come on, it's like we are going to ask questions that is like, ooh, that just put my foot in my mouth, right? It's like, oh, maybe I didn't ask the question right, or if that person reacted in a certain way, right? It's like, how can we like apologize in that moment and be like, oh, you know what? I don't think that landed well. Let me try to rephrase this in a different way, right? It's like, are we able to do that? And also, are we able to um, hold space and grace enough if that person is like, "Uh, that didn't land well, and I don't want to continue this conversation, right? It's like we don't know where they're coming from either. And so it's like, okay, can we just, take a breath? Let's just take a breath. One of the things I found though in this work that I do, um, when someone is activated, telling them to take a breath is probably not a really good idea because it's like they even get more activated by it. And I made that mistake before, where it's like, just take a breath. And they're like, take a breath. Why don't you take a breath? And I was like, there's anger upon anger. So it's like, maybe instead of saying to the person, take a breath, you could say, you know what? This is a good time for me to probably just take a breath. And I'm just going to like pause for a minute here because you're taking accountability for the situation. And it's like it helps to change and transform the entire energy in that moment when you're like, I just need to take a breath because you're letting that person know where you are. And hopefully that there is enough respect and love with that individual, right? That's the responsibility of being in a relationship where they can give that space. So, okay. All right. Anyone else? So thank you so much for sharing that, Elizabeth. Anyone else wants to share?
So Jessica also dropped their answer in the chat. So Jessica, I'm going to go ahead and read it out loud. So change is difficult coming back to school and taking these sociology and criminal justice classes and having these intense discussions on addiction and crime from different perspectives has taught me to be more open, and my own perspectives have changed in some ways.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I feel that, yes, change is not easy. Change is not easy. It is definitely, I like to use the metaphor of a seed, right? It's like you plant the seed, and to us, it's like, oh, look at the seed is popping up, and it's like we have a tree here. But imagine what that seed has to go through if it could talk, being put way down deep in the dirt and just tons of soil on top of it. And it's like, I got to rise. And then it's like, oh my gosh, an inch through the dirt. It's like, I got to keep rising. And then another inch through that dirt. And before you know it, it pops up. But there's a lot of things that little seed could go through, right? In that. And then it definitely can be a difficult time. Um, and so yeah, change is not easy. It's messy. Sometimes change, it ain't cute. Change, it's not cute. So it's like, be okay with that. Be okay with the fact that, you know what, I'm a work in progress. God's not done with me yet. There's still things that I've got to learn. There's still things that I've got to grow from. And in that process, it's not cute. A butterfly, a butterfly turns to mush before it becomes a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's like, that's be patient with ourselves. Be patient with ourselves and with others because, yeah, change is definitely not easy. Okay, Mia, do we have anything else? Okay, let's see. Oh, Angelique. Let's see. All those things, sociality, crime, addiction, can be interconnected. Those pop up when it comes to bio parent and foster parents dealing with them and responding to them without judgment. Yes. We're so quick to, we're so quick to, we're so quick to judge one another without knowing the story of it. You know, if, it's like I always think about, ooh, when I was at my lowest point in my life, it's like I was married. So next week I'll be married for 20 years. My previous marriage, I was married for 18 years. And it's like in between, after my divorce, after being married for 18 years, whew, people that met me during that time was not good. It was not good. And it's like some people still follow me online and things like that, and they're like, oh, hopefully they see growth. What I would really like is for these individuals that met me during that time to connect. And I've connected with some of them, and to be able to share that growth and be open with one another, and like talking about vulnerability. It's like we find more in common and find that we are more human with each other when we can come to each other with open hearts and be vulnerable. Because, yeah, again, there's no such thing as perfectionism. At least I don't think so. All right. So we've got a few more minutes. So let's just get started here. Let me go back. Can you all see my screen? Okay. So this is aloha. So aloha is not merely a greeting. To me, it's our guiding star. It's a guiding star within each of us. By cultivating its principles, we eliminate our paths, connect with our hearts, and we become beacons of compassion and understanding in a world that often feels divided. And in a world that can feel so divided, it's like, how do we continue to give aloha to those that, to people that may have the opposite ideas and perspectives of what we have? How do we still be the beacons of light when there's so much that is happening in our society right now? And like I was saying earlier, that when we're talking about these systems that were designed to keep us apart, designed to divide us, designed to just sometimes even pit ourselves against each other, if we are continuously the beacons of compassion, then we can be the bridge between all of that, right? We can be the bridge. And that is what aloha is. So aloha is not just a greeting. Yes, it is a guiding star, but it is also a responsibility to how we show up with each other, taking accountability for for how are we how are our words landing in another person's body? How are our words landing in a place where it can actually create change? And so this is what this course is going to be about, is how can we continue to be the paths and the beacons of love, compassion, and aloha. And I am really hoping that as we go through all of this, that together we can co-create a better society, and that when you work on your capstone project, that you actually hopefully this is something that is not just going to change yourself, but change the trajectory of the people that you are in relationship with as well too. So I'm so excited. I am like really, really excited about all of this. And I'm excited to see that how are we all going to learn together? How are we going to grow together? What are we going to come up with? What we're going to create? And what actions are we going to take? And so I'm really excited. And as Mia and Andrea know, I'm the kind of person that when we are in this space of learning and we are in this space of vulnerability, that we have now become more than just teacher and student. I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. I am not just Dr. G teaching you this. We are now in relationship with each other. I hope you all know that. We are in relationship with each other. We are not going to become friends. Now we're going to know each other on social media if you choose to, or LinkedIn, or however it is, because we can now create this microcosm of accountability and responsibility to how are we going to, you're all here because you wanted to know about Aloha. And I feel that you're all here and looking at all of the, it's like, the questions that I sent out and the responses that you have, you all want to see something different. And for you to show up on a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, or just roll out of bed like Kara did and just come right into this course, that tells me that you are also dedicated to being the change that you want to see in the world. So I just wanted to thank you all so much for trusting me, for trusting each other, and for being here, for being here. So this is how we can stay connected. Besides, I just heard about Coup Connect the other day. So Coup Connect is one way that we could stay in touch with each other. If you want to know more about my work, about my readings, I mean my writings and everything, you can find it here. Please feel free to reach out to me. We can have any conversation that you want around aloha, the embodiment of it, the struggles of it, whatever it is. That's what I'm here for. So please reach out, and I will share this presentation with Mia, and then so that way you'll all have it as well too, and then that way you can go back and you could also take a look at it. Earlier, I mentioned that those of you that are in the southern part of Washington and over in Oregon, I am going to be speaking on March 8th in Beaverton, Oregon. And so if you would like to join me, that would be great to see you there. But it's She Dares to Rise. And so this is a celebration of fearless women. And these are some of the other women that I'm going to have the opportunity to share the stage with. And so it would be really awesome, because then we could all show up wearing Krug's gear on this side of the mountain. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So we have a few minutes that I want to open up if we have any questions, any more things, closing or whatever it is with Mia and Andrea. Yeah, I'll hand it back to you all.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. G. We appreciate you being here and facilitating this session. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. The recording will be available should you want to review. So, like I mentioned earlier, give it approximately 5 to 7 business days, as we need the recording properly captioned. So, as iterated earlier as well, if you have questions or require further assistance in completing any module and or run into access issues, event link, forms, or submission confirmations, just send an email to global.connections@wsu.edu. And if you can, include a screenshot of what you're seeing so I can, or we can see right away what might be the issue. So yeah, we wish you all the best as you journey through the guiding principles of aloha. So thank you, everybody.
Mia, do you see the questions in chat?
Yeah. So
Nope. I got you off. I was doing my attendance. The great thing about just knowing all y'all, and you have been amazingly active in all our clubs, I can easily just search you up in the
Okay.
student center.
But did you see Elizabeth's question as well, Mia?
So the next modules are self-paced, but will there be any optional meeting between now and the last one? There will be no. We only set up for 2 meetings unless Dr. G
Yeah,
depends on.
I have a I have I this work is hard work for me. And so when it comes to this, if you want to meet, I have an open door policy. So drop me an email, or however it is. And if you want to meet up one on one, if you want to go deeper into it, however it is, we can do that. It's like in Kooks Connect, I'll probably like throw out maybe a couple of dates, and say, hey, we're going to have this meeting. It's optional. If you want to show up, show up. If you don't, then that's fine too. And so there will definitely be ways, because I know it's a long time between now and April 11th. And I want you all to feel comfortable with all of this. And so, yes, I will. I'll definitely, I'll be there. Okay. All right, let's see. I think we have a couple of other questions. Let's see. Speaking be on the, oh, okay.
If you were already signed up for Cougs Connect, if you already have a Cougs Connect account, Mia is going to go in and make sure you all get invited to the private Aloha chat. So that will be how you are added. So if for some reason you don't get added, then you would, of course, reach out to Mia with any questions. So I did know that question, Mia. I helped you with something.
Yeah, no, I
And
I thought you can join as well. I'm not sure how Casey set that up, but yeah, I will look into it. But there should be an option for you to join, and if that option is not there, I will go ahead and add all of you who are here. I can't
They
go through
might
a
have to
meeting.
be invited because we did set it up as a private chat. So
Oh,
not
okay.
just anybody could join.
All
It's
right,
exclusive.
sounds good. All
yeah,
right,
that's
so
good.
make
And then,
sure that if
okay,
you
and then
haven't signed up, oh,
Mia, really quick, it looks like Jessica also had a question. Will the info for when Dr. G is speaking be on the involved page? I didn't get all the info.
you mean to say the speech that you're going through in down south, or?
Yeah, it actually, Jessica, it's going to be on. I'm going to share this presentation, so you could have it on there, or drop me an email. So, okay.
Yeah, if you could ask Dr. G for the file for the flyer, and then we could definitely post it on Cooks Connect as well. And then I will send an email, and if you need to, and I can also attach that via email.
Yeah, because when you all are in that group in Cougs Connect, you can attach documents and photos. I don't know about documents, but I definitely know photos and types of attachments. So
Oh,
yes,
cool.
that'll be your space to really talk and share.
Mhm. And of course, Elizabeth, they can't go through a meeting without saying cheese. I mean, I would like that give me an idea if you we all are comfortable to just briefly show our cameras, and we can do and we can do a photo, a group photo.
That's a perfect
Oh,
idea. I think we should now incorporate that, Elizabeth. I think that needs to
awesome.
be our
Okay,
new
can
thing with cheese points. We like every event we say cheese and we take
All
our
right.
photo.
Okay, if anybody's willing to show your turn your camera on real quick, and then we can do our
are you gonna
um
capture this? You're gonna capture this, Mia? Oh,
yes, I'm just
yay!
waiting on Katie, Jessica, or Michelle, and
Our Brady
if
Bunch
not,
squares.
yes, and if you are okay, I'll give you some time to decide. I know it's a Saturday, and we're probably like just like Kara can relate. Let's roll down from the bed. So yeah, feel free. Okay, I'll give it probably about 5 seconds more to kind of get our hair and,
Or,
be.
pick an avatar like Elizabeth. I always
Oh,
love that,
yeah.
right?
All right. Yep.
Panda, that's my avatar. And
Oh,
yeah.
hi, Betty. They want to be in the picture. All right, Michelle and Katie. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go ahead and say cheese.
Cheese.
Okay, I got that captured. This is beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Let me put that in my chat or my message to myself so I have it.
And
All
then you're
right.
gonna share it to the Cougs Connect page, right, Mia? So we can all see. I'm
Oh,
excited.
that's a great idea. All right.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
thank you all. Thank you so much for making this Saturday so beautiful. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and aloha.
Go Cooks.
Go Cougs!
Bye. Let me see. Stop recording.